my fellow Dreamfasters, it is Danny Gallows, of course, who'd you think it was, and welcome back to another movie review. And today I am joined by my very good friend here, an old relic from the past. That's right, guys, an ancient Order of the Dragon statue. Authentic right here. The true source of all my power, in case you're curious. So, to me at least, there are only two truly great Dracula films in cinematic history, and that is the original Nosferatu in 1922, and of course, Bram Stoker's Dracula. I mean, there are other films in history too, like you have like Bela Lugosi's Dracula, which is another, old classic Dracula. But that just kind of feels more like Halloween Dracula to me. And then in modern day, all we really have are films like, like Van Helsing, right? Which are just so campy and so cheesy and you can't take them seriously at all. But with Bram Stoker's Dracula, here is a film that is the opposite of that, right? This is a film that has no cheese, it has no fluff, it has no levity at all. All it does is frighten you from the very first frame to the very last frame. What I love so much about this film is its tone. I mean, it is so frightening and haunting and disturbing and scary. I mean, it is so scary. It's got to be the scariest Dracula movie ever made. And that's the key to making a good Dracula film, is you want it to truly frighten people. You want it to truly disturb people. And Bram Stoker's Dracula, this film does it best. And what's really interesting is that a lot of people forget that Francis Ford Coppola, who is of course the director, the creator of this film, a lot of people forget that he emerged in Hollywood alongside those other great legendary filmmakers like Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. He was part of that wave of directors that emerged in Hollywood and started making these awesome films. And of course, we all remember him for The Godfather and, Apocalypse Now, right? But a lot of people forget that Bram Stoker's Dracula, I would argue, is, maybe his greatest masterpiece, at least in my eyes. And everything you need to know about this movie is right in that absolutely epic opening scene where we have Anthony Hopkins, who of course plays Van Helsing in the movie, giving us this narration about the actual history of Romania and the battles and the wars that were going on during that time. And he also gives us, the slightly fantasized but still awesome, kind of true mythos of the actual historical figure that Dracula is based on. And basically, it recounts the story. Of course, it's romanticized, it's a little bit fantasized, but the mythology around it is still good. And that's what you have to do, right? You have to take real history and expand upon that, because that's what makes characters, real, right? That's what makes them so vivid in our eyes, is when you take something that has actual history and you take that mythology, you romanticize it a little bit, and you expand upon it to build this really beautiful story. And man, what an awesome opening scene Bram Stoker's Dracula has. It has, without a doubt, the best opening scene of any Dracula movie ever made in cinematic history. That, my friends, that is how you open a Dracula film. Now, of course, this movie wouldn't even be possible without one of the masters himself, Gary Oldman. I love this guy so much. What an unbelievably talented and gifted chameleon actor. Think about it, guys. Zorg from The Fifth Element, Winston Churchill, right, and Dracula in this movie. All the same guy. It's the same guy. What a truly unbelievable actor. Seriously, this guy has proven himself, and this was the movie really where he started to prove that, right? When he stepped into this role, this was back in the early 90s, right? So he wasn't known for a lot of chameleon roles at that time. And this was the role that he really started to test his ground with being a chameleon actor, and man, he was just so perfectly cast. And that's the truth for both versions of Dracula that he plays. He plays the younger version, and then he plays the older version as well. Around the middle of the film, where he actually transforms himself to the younger version again, to go after his long-lost love. Because that's one of my favorite aspects of this film that a lot of people forget, right? A lot of people love the blood and the violence and the frightening, disturbing imagery, but they also forget that this is a love story. It's about finding and relocating your long-lost love, right? Crossing oceans of time, as he so eloquently puts it in the film. And, you know, it's such a beautiful romance story. I mean, whoever thought that a Dracula movie could be played like this, like an old classic romance? You know, I mean, one of my most favorite, my most favorite scenes from the film is when, you know, she's starting to remember who she is. You know, they're rekindling their romance, and she's starting to remember her past life. She's starting to remember who she is, and she's very, very, you know, saddened by this, the tears of time coming through her, and he's comforting her and trying to bring her back to his heart. And, you know, she's crying, and he catches her tears and turns them to diamonds. I mean, what an unbelievably gorgeous and really heartwarming, touching story this is. But I would have to say that the greatest aspect of this film to me is just the aesthetic of the movie. I mean, I don't really know how to put it properly. It's just that this movie just feels right. The entire film feels so right. I mean, the costume designs, the practical effects, the characters, how everything is shot and filmed, right? How everything is directed, the cinematography, right? I mean, it just feels right. And when I say it feels right, I mean, it feels unsettling, right? I mean, remember that scene when, you know, Dracula is crawling down the castle wall with that big red train cape behind him, and he's crawling literally, you know, obviously, you know, rules of gravity and rules of physics out the window at this castle, as we see in many shots of the film, and he's just crawling down the side of the castle like an animal, and you're looking at this shot play out, and you're like, why is this so disturbing right now? Why am I so unsettled? It's just a shot of Dracula crawling down the castle, but it is so unsettling, right? And that's because of the way it's directed. It's because of the way it's shot. It is so frightening. Every single frame is so frightening. This is a movie that utilizes no cheap tricks. It utilizes no jump scares or anything like that. It's just good old-fashioned, scary, psychological horror. I mean, like, you know, it's just simple stuff, right? It just goes to show you how the movie was executed so well that even simple imagery can scare you, right? Like, remember when Lucy is fully transformed into a vampire and they're going down there to stake her heart and they discover that the coffin is empty, this huge stone coffin is empty, and then she comes down the steps and the candles light up around her, and she's dressed in this white gown and she's carrying the child, and then when we fully see her, she's so frightening with, you know, the ice blue eyes and the fangs and the blood and the pale skin and the white lace outfit. I mean, that is just, I still have nightmares thinking about that scene today, and nothing particularly scary happens in that scene. It's just the way that she looks. It's the aesthetic of the scene. It's how it's shot. It is so terrifying. And that, I mean, to do something so terrifying with something so simple, that is an art form. And then, of course, we have this absolutely fantastic ending, a very, very beautiful and unexpected ending, especially for a Dracula film, which is this kind of redemption arc. Of course, we have an amazing chase scene through the Transylvanian mountains, racing the sun to get back to the castle, because when the sun goes down, he's going to pop out of that box and start killing everybody. And of course he does, and it's bloody, and it's horrific, and it's great. But then he's gravely injured in the process. And what ensues after that is one of the most beautiful endings, again, in cinematic history, where he and his long-lost love crawl back to the castle as he is dying. And not only does he find peace and redemption, but with him, not just with himself, but also with God, his God that he renounced. But then he's also reunited in heaven, finally, with Elizabeth, as he puts it in the film, again so eloquently. And then we have this beautiful ending shot of this kind of mural of he and his wife painted on the ceiling. And it illuminates and it glows as it represents them being reunited in heaven, which is, again, a callback to the beginning of the movie where Elizabeth writes in the note, you know, may God reunite us in heaven. Again, it is so beautiful and heartwarming and touching, and again, so unexpected for a Dracula movie, and that is what makes this possibly, I mean, I guess I'll just go ahead and say it, it's the greatest Dracula film ever made. However, there is one aspect of this film that I really, truly don't care for. And that is, I think everybody knows it already, everybody's thinking it who's seen the movie already, Keanu Reeves. I mean, I love Keanu Reeves with all my heart, man. But, yeah, what the hell was that? Alright, my friends, well, that's enough blathering from yours truly for right now. So now comes the most magical time of the video where you guys get to voice all of your thoughts and opinions. Tell me, is this one of your favorite Dracula movies as well? What are your favorite aspects of the film? What's your favorite scene? What's your favorite character? And do you think that this is possibly the best Dracula film ever made? Let me know. Leave all of your thoughts, opinions, comments down below in the Great White Void. And I'll see you guys back here for the next video very soon. Now, it's time for my bloodletting. Alright. Make it quick this time. Come on. Gotta go to work. Gotta go to work. Hurry up, hurry up. Come on, come on. Just get it in there. Just get it in there. You know what I mean? Ah!